Understanding U.S. History, Chapter 5. Understanding U.S. History, Chapter 5. The Road to the Revolutionary War. This chapter's timeline includes about 130 years from 1660 to almost the 1800s. Between 1660 and 1750, the British government passed very few laws that had any major effect on the colonies in North America. The government of the 13 colonies were left to themselves to make many decisions. After the French and Indian War, Britain changed the way it governed the 13 colonies. The British government started passing many laws that had major effects on its colonies. British domination through trade laws. The major powers of Europe. The major powers of Europe were Britain, France, and Spain. In the 1600s, all three countries tried to dominate one another economically by accumulating more wealth than their rivals. Wealth was then measured by the amount of gold and silver a country could accumulate or get. Spain was very successful in gaining additional gold and silver from its colonies. The colonies that Britain claimed did not have much gold and silver. Instead, Britain had to trade agricultural cash products from its colonies and manufactured products to other countries for gold and silver. The more manufactured goods that British manufacturers sold, the more gold and silver that came into Britain. The reverse was also true. The more products that people in Britain bought from other countries, the more gold and silver that went out of Britain. To ensure that more gold and silver came into Britain than went out of Britain, Britain passed laws that regulated or set limits on industries that imported and exported goods. The name given to describe the economic plans a government made to control businesses and industries which engaged in trade was called mercantilism. The development of mercantilism was important because it marked the first time in history that countries tried to use worldwide trade to gain wealth and power over its rivals. Trade laws. As part of its mercantilist policies in the 1600s, the British Parliament passed many trade laws, such as the Navigation Acts, to control trade. Trade laws control imports and exports. The Navigation Acts. The Navigation Acts, which Parliament started to enact in 1660, were a series of laws that dealt with trade. The laws covered three main areas: how trade goods would be transported, where trade goods would be exported to and imported from, and which natural resource trade goods the colonies could export. Each part of the Navigation Acts was designed to solve economic problems by creating wealth for Britain and the British governments. Let's look at those one at a time. Navigation Acts and how trade goods were transported. Part of the Navigation Acts said that only ships built in Britain or its colonies could transport imports and exports to and from the colonies. In addition, the Act said that most of the sailors working on those ships had to be from Britain or its colonies. That part of the Navigation Acts benefited both the 13 colonies and Britain because it allowed the development of the shipbuilding industry in the New England colonies and guaranteed jobs for colonial sailors. It also kept all the transportation and money earned by transportation under British control. Navigation Acts and where trade goods would be exported to and imported from. A second part within the Navigation Act said that all trade goods sold to other countries by the 13 colonies had to go to Britain first before they were taken to other countries. The law also stated that all goods that were imported to the 13 colonies from other countries had to be shipped to Britain first before being sent to the 13 colonies. That law benefited Britain in two ways. First, Britain collected taxes on those trade goods because Britain collected taxes on all goods imported to England or exported from England. Second, once trade goods from foreign countries were in Britain, they could only be shipped to its colonies on British ships using British crews. However, the part of the Navigation Acts that prohibited colonial traders from selling directly to other countries was not strictly enforced.
Please pardon the interruption. All students are reminded that they are to wear their ID